straight to the headline. Alabama took a field trip up to Fayetteville. They came out on top, the Roman Army, 49-26, but they did suffer a loss. The loss was college football's shining star, Bryce Young, trying to escape a sack, gets tripped up, lands on his throwing shoulder, elbow, sprains his shoulder. He's out for the game. Now, knock on wood, because just with everything we've seen in college and pro football, I would rather have what he has right now than with some of these other things that we've been watching guys go down. Nevertheless, he's out of the game and was out pretty early. Jalen Milroe, next man up in the Alabama quarterback room, and that was kind of like a trivia because we've never seen Bryce Young come out of a game. Jalen Milroe leads Alabama's charge, 555 total yards, and Jahmyr Gibbs was the anchor. Fellas, the Roman Army, can they continue on in their current form without Bryce Young for 2 or 3 weeks? Solid output from Jalen Milroe, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. And I'm not saying he's anywhere close to the Jedi that Bryce Young is, but given his full complement and everything that we needed to see out of Jahmyr Gibbs, in a crisis, he came through, and they have the best coach maybe in sports. Could they be okay to give Bryce 2 or 3 weeks to rest his shoulder and still be unblemished? Trevor, we'll go with you.
Yeah, I think they cannot give him 2 or 3 weeks, and here's why. They host Texas A&M next week. Yes, put him in a box, get his shoulder nice. They'll be fine against Texas A&M, like we just talked about it.
Now, that's an A&M team, mind you. That's an A&M team that beat Bama and Bryce Young last year with a third-string quarterback.
On the road.
They did.
On the road. We talked about how Alabama struggles on the road last week.
Indeed. So before we just go sweeping A&M on out of there, this one A&M actually knows a little something about.
All right. So there's some history there with that one, but the one 2 weeks down the road is the one that they need to really worry about. They're going to Tennessee. They gotta be on their game for Tennessee. So do whatever you got to do. Shoot up the arm. I've had the injury, AC separation in the throwing shoulder. I sat out 2 weeks, and I couldn't lift my arm for those 2 weeks. I don't know how many shots I got in my arm, and if it was even legal, but I did, and was able to play on senior night against LSU, and didn't play all that well. So it just depends on how bad it is and those types of things. But one of the things that we've discussed all year long is that Bryce Young is the first quarterback at Alabama in recent history. And you could throw in, Tua, we've talked about this, but he is the engine that makes that go. He is the guy. It's not like they've got a Derrick Henry or some big back that's going to step up and win the Heisman Trophy. Now, maybe Gibbs is that guy, but he is the guy that makes that go. He's the Heisman Trophy winner, for crying out loud. They cannot afford to play without him. This week, we'll see with A&M, but if he's out against Tennessee, I'd be really nervous playing in Neyland Stadium without your Heisman Trophy winning quarterback.
How do you see this backup plan, Hack, with Bryce Young? Are they strong enough? And could you go into Tennessee? You've played under Bill O'Brien. Could he game up a victory on the road in Neyland Stadium with Jalen Milroe?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think to Trevor's point, this Alabama team doesn't have at least right now, superstars that we're used to seeing this Alabama team have outside in the backfield that they've had of recent years. Bryce Young is kind of that, but it's still Alabama, and they still have guys who can play. I think more so defensively heading into Neyland, that's where you gotta be ready for an up-tempo offense that executes at a very efficient clip, and they have a quarterback who's very confident right now. That's where I'd be more focused. And offensively, they still got guys. And this Jahmyr Gibbs kid came out, played really well against an Arkansas team that, some people, Clint Sterner being one of them, talking about how piss poor they are as tacklers, but still a good, tough Arkansas team that has a good blue collar backbone. Came out there and 11 yards of carry tonight, did his thing. So yeah, I think Alabama can do it. But I think to Trevor's point, Bryce Young will make this a lot less sweaty and a lot easier if he's back under center quickly.
We're dropping our merch.
We got to start calling Underwood Daddy Brad.
But I'm a big pod guy.
Breaking news. The Field of 68 has an online store, and it's your one-stop shop for the latest and greatest merch in college basketball and college football. You can find shirts to support your favorite team, make fun of your rival team, or boast Field of 68 catchphrases like Daddy Brad, Cussin' and Discussin', and the Star Heels. Go to www.fieldof68.shop today and enter promo code TOUCHDOWN for 20% off at checkout.